And I just turned around and I hauled ass out of there. I was done. I wasn't dealing with that.
The hypocrisy of the cult is one of the things that turned me away the quickest.
When I turned my headlights on, it turned and looked at us, and one of the things I remember the most were the eyes were glowing red.
I see an orb of light. It is just circling these steps like it is waiting for me.
And he begins to tell them that he saw a UFO. They're basically like, what are you talking about? That's 7 foot up on a tree, peeking around it, and that's where I saw the top of the muzzle, nose, and the eyes. As soon as I made eye contact with this thing, it felt like death.
Welcome back to Tinfoil Tells. I'm your host, Brandon Wright. Tonight's episode, we're going to be joined by my guest, Ruben. Ruben reached out to me from a mutual podcaster he'd been on. You guys may remember Sonny from a few episodes back. He was on Sonny's show, and Sonny had him connect with me, have him come on my show. I'm definitely looking forward to talking with Ruben, find out what he's experienced. But before we bring him on, if you've ever had an experience and you would like to be on an episode of Tinfoil Tells, make sure to send an email to tinfoiltellspodcast@gmail.com or go to tinfoiltells.com and go to the contact section. Just make sure to get a message to me and we'll get something scheduled for a future episode. If you would like to help the podcast, you can always share it around. Word of mouth is the best way of helping the podcast grow. Every time it gets shared around, that's a potential new listener that could be a potential new guest. So just know by doing that, you're helping me out, you're helping the guest out, and it's much appreciated. You can also help out by leaving a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to Tinfoil Tells at. Just click the 5 stars and it helps with the podcast rankings and it makes it more discoverable for more people to find. If you're like me and do not like hearing all these ads randomly placed throughout episodes, you can always become a member of the Patreon. For $1.99 a month, you get early access to all of the episodes, and they're all ad-free, so you can get up to 2 months' worth of content before it's available anywhere else. There's also a free membership if you want to try it out. Again, look into the show notes, and you will find more information about the Patreon. You can also find more information and reach out to me via social media, so just make sure to find me on either one of them. Usually on Facebook more often, so look for Brandon Tinfoil Tells. But we're going to go ahead and bring Ruben on and dive into the conversation. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'd like to take this time to welcome my guest today, Ruben. Thanks for coming on here and talking with me.
Hello, my name is Ruben Dresscher. I'm from the Netherlands, and this is my first time here, and I'm excited to be on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Would you like to let the audience know what we're going to talk about today?
So, I am 28 years old and I already have a lot of experience in things like clairvoyance and deprogramming mind control, but I also have a lot of experiences, personal experiences with the astral world. And I like to talk about that and to share some information that can be helpful in the real world to change energy and to get rid of the unconscious programming that is changing the energy fields so that you can experience different things in your reality, and also maybe inspire people more to look into the astral world.
Now, when you
and be
mention
more
when you
Yes.
mention astral world, I've had a few people on here that have talked about that and everything, but for people that are not familiar with that, could you elaborate a little bit of what that is?
So for me, it is just everything that the general people can see, like the spirits, energy fields, energies, out of body experiences, all things like that. It's for me, I call it the astral world or the unseen world, and it is here. And actually, I believe that everybody can experiencing it, but there's not a lot of people that are open for it. So the astral world is for me like everything that is real, but people in general are not perceiving.
I've had people that have talked about traveling the astral plane and like a dream world. They come out of their dreams and they travel through the astral planes and stuff. Is that kind of similar to what you experience?
I also experienced that. I have different out of body experiences, like getting to a different dimension and being really there. And that was even more, sometimes more real than this reality. I have experiences like that. I have experiences of getting out of my body in this world and just when I was walking on the street, that I get out of my body to the other side of the street and my body was walking straight in a line, and my soul, I was next to my body. And then after a couple seconds, I'm back in. I've experiences like that.
Hmm.
And yeah, all kinds of, a lot of experiences actually. It's just for me, it is a normal thing. It's a daily thing, not the out of body experiences. I'm not every day. And I can't do that on command, but I have a lot of experiences that just happened.
Before we dive into some of those experiences, I was going to ask, how did you first discover this? Was it something that you've always been able to do, or how did it come about?
It just happened when I was very little. I already was seeing beings and I was more open and interested in these topics. So it started there and it was just a normal thing for me, but I didn't talk a lot about it. And then when I was uh, like 10 years old or 12 years old, I shut it up and it opened again about the age of 18. So it's actually all my life, only not really in the age from 10 to 18. But it is a natural thing for me. It was always there. And when I got more experiences, I was more open to it and I let go of the fears that I had for this clairvoyance and astral world. And in that way, I can perceive even more and more, and things become to change, and I can go further in these experiences.
Well, if you're ready to dive into some of those experiences, you can go right ahead.
Yeah, so I've a lot of things I've experienced, like it's started opening again when I was something like 18 years old, and it was like new things before things happened. So just a simple intuition. I was driving in the bus, and I get a thought, this bus can crash in this specific place. And the next day, that bus was crashed in that specific place. Things like that happened on a daily basis in the beginning. So for me, it was a sign that my intuition was there, was real. And I got a lot of experiences like that. And then I got also experiences that were very intense for me because it was a little bit scary, and that was that I was perceiving that reality isn't real and it is more like a dream world. So that was for me very intense because I believed that everything must be real. And then on the age of 20, when I was already perceiving this like a dream world and I see all those things, someone sent me videos of quantum physics, and that point was everything what I was seeing that the quantum physics was telling was actually agreeing with my own experiences in this thing. So then it became more grounded for me. So my mental state was accepting my experiences. So my thoughts and feelings were more aligned in this specific thing. And that was a very intense process because I was sometimes a little bit, I got a little bit of panic attacks even because of the clairvoyance. And also I was thinking like maybe I'm just going crazy or whatever. And that was the hard part of it.
I was actually going to ask that.
Yeah, it
What
was.
would, how do you explain that to people and then them not turn around and say that you're, have some sort of mental illness?
Yeah, so a lot of people, I didn't tell a lot of people about it actually. And when I told people it was, yeah, they think like you have some kind of mental illness. So I took that point also like it can be true that I'm just crazy. So I was not shutting that up. I was just observing that like, okay, it can be true that maybe I am crazy, but then I'm going to experience clairvoyance. So I get visions and I see things, but the things that I was seeing were actually happening later in the real world. So it were very detailed things and very specific things that there was no way for me to know that this was going to happen. They were all also not like little things that I can subconsciously see that and uh, that I can know it beforehand. And then it happened, like the example what I was saying with the bus crash. I can't. There's no possible way for me to know that one day later that crash can happen in that specific place. There was no uh, subliminal messages in some way or form. So that it was happening a lot of times. That was the proof for me that it was real. And also what I did was I was questioning the other side, like people are believing reality is real. So I was asking them, how do you know it? And if you go dig deeper in that question, how do you know if reality is real? And why do you believe what you believe? Actually, people don't know it. So there's also no foundation for that argument of everything is real or things like that. So that also showed me that people actually don't know if it is real or not real, but they assume it is real. And there are also programmings underlying because it can be very scary if you know it is not real or you can see that you think it is real, but you don't really know it if it is real or not. So it is also a scary thing for people because when I was giving some arguments about why it is not real, people sometimes even get scared or even say, "Don't tell me things like this," because they get scared. So that was process about that thing.
Do you
There's
happen
a
to
reason.
know, sorry, do you happen to know like when you're in a different reality or a different dimension or whatever, how you detect that you're there? Like what is different about it compared to where we're at now?
So I have this. This was one of my most intense experiences that I had with going to another dimension. It was that I just shoot out of my body. It was more like I just instantly be in that other dimension. But when I was there, I was not thinking what am I doing here or what is this? Because my ego was left here. And it was only that my soul was there. So I experienced it and I was there and I saw a man that was looking at me with very intense blue eyes, like a different color blue that you have on this world. And that man was telling me some information. And after that, I came back to this world and then I heard all kinds of very intense frequencies. I can't even explain it actually. It was so different. But then I came back to this world, and at that time, my ego was going to react. And that was the point I'm was like, what is happening? And I didn't understand it, and I was flabbergasted about this whole experience. But it was just the point that I came back here. It was that ego was here and not there. It was like that was totally normal. It was not even a thought about it. It was just experience, and then I came back, and then my subconscious programming is going to react to that experience.
You'd mentioned like deprogramming and everything else for mind control.
Yes.
Is Without going like too far into that right now, how does one like for the mind control aspect, are we being controlled by someone else or is it just our own natural mind control? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. What I mean with mind control is actually just unconscious beliefs, unconscious behaviors. And when you observe people, you can see that people are just, for example, they are talking about things. They are talking about what annoys them, for example. But that's some programming because it annoys them because in their past they have experiences and conditions and grown up in a certain way that they are believing that something, an event can annoy them. And uh, for that reason, something can trigger them, but it is the programming that I developed in the past that is getting triggered. And then they are experiencing that. So for me, mind control or that programming is just all the beliefs and behaviors that are unconscious. Because when you are really conscious, it is not subconscious behavior or beliefs, but it's more like a conscious choice. So it's just unconscious or conscious. And yeah, people can also do it with different reasons to mind control people and everything. But I'm also always like, you have to take your own responsibility and look at your beliefs and all the things and then become conscious of it and make the choice if it is helping you or not and let it go or not. And that's for me the mind control. It's just subconscious behaviors.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure where that was going because I recently just had an episode come out about mind control, but that was supposedly
Ah,
military type people
yes, that's
using
more the
yeah,
MK Ultra, right?
yeah,
Things like
MK,
that.
yeah,
Yes,
more
yes.
programming that way. So I wasn't sure when you said deprogramming the mind control. I was like, I wonder if you're referring to like if someone was being programmed and you can unprogram yourself.
Yes, but that's also a little bit the same. But that's just somebody programming another person in certain ways. So that they choose on a subconscious way to follow that programming and they act it out. And you have also the other ways, just your upbringing and what you learned from your parents and society and your experiences and all things like that. But that's, so to say, not that evil as MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm. So anytime I've ever heard about MK Ultra stuff, there never seems to be anything good.
No, it's not very good, I think.
No. No, back to some of the experiences you had or anything. I was thinking, like, when you said some of them were like scary or whatever, did you ever encounter anything? I don't know the correct term to say, but like otherworldly, like something that you knew didn't exist in our reality?
In this physical reality that I see beings, I mean, it's something like that
Yeah.
from another place. Yes, I have. I've different times. Like one of the most crazy things that I saw, and it was just I just saw this one time in my life. That was I was in a car and I was driving, and then I saw two. No, I saw like reptilian dinosaurs. But I was thinking that it were two people walking. No, actually, I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. I saw that dinosaurs walking, and it was shape-shifting in two people under an umbrella. So that was one of the experiences that I saw that was from another world. Or
So
the,
you
first, I
basically
was
saw
thinking,
something that looked
yes,
like a dinosaur that turned into like a human form.
yes, two humans, not one. It was just two humans.
Hmm.
One dinosaur was shape-shifting in two humans. So I was thinking that I'm just saw something and make something out of it. But the first thing when I was showing the dinosaurs, I was thinking that it was just some costume with from a dinosaurs with filled up with air. You have that costumes that people can buy and then
Yeah.
they put also air in it. I was thinking that it was something like that, and I was like, that's weird that someone is walking with that, and then it shapeshifted in two people. So that just happened, and actually I didn't get scared or I was just thinking I was almost just gaslighting myself, like it has to be something else, or I just uh make it up in my head or something.
I think a
That's
lot of
also
people do that when they see weird stuff that they can't explain. They
yes,
try and write it off or explain it away and the best they can without accepting what they actually saw.
yes, and that's really true because that was the first thing I was doing, and it was maybe I didn't even got scared because I was so gaslighting myself, but later on I'm like that was what I really saw, and that was one of the most intense experiences with something from another world in this reality. And all the things are that I see beings and spirits and entities, but that's not like from really a different world, so to say.
So the spirits and everything, I've always said that maybe they were from a different plane of existence. And when people think they're interacting
Yes,
with stuff that are paranormal or ghost or something like that, maybe they're just on a different like reality base, like a different dimension or something.
yes, because what I was experiencing also is when my energy was low and I was stressed out about things, I got very into sucked into the three-dimensional world, and I shut off um, that other world, so to say, and then I'm not experiencing as much as normally. But when I'm very relaxed and everything is going fine, and actually it's just I'm feeling fine, and I open up to it, then I can experience a lot more. So it's also that other dimensions are here, and you can experience them if you're uh, change your energy and let go of the fears and of the uh, control in the three-dimensional world also, then you can see more, experiencing more.
It almost sounds to an extent sort of in the vein of, in my opinion, like even our reality right now that we live in. If there's other realities, other dimensions, how do we know like the one that we're currently in is the correct reality? You know what I mean? Like it's almost, it sounds
Yes,
strange, but like it's like, are we actually supposed to be here, or are we supposed to be somewhere else? Are you good here in this one, or are you supposed to be somebody in some other reality?
yes, I understand. It's like you are here, but maybe you need to be somewhere else, or
Mm-hmm.
and what I was experiencing, and what I was also thinking a lot about was that people that are really sucked into the three-dimensional world, they uh, they invest so much into this three-dimensional world because of fear, and the fear is the underlying energy that keep them stuck into the three-dimensional world. And it's also based a lot on control and things like that. But when you let go of that and get to the higher dimensions. It is more about flow and intuition, but that is very scary for if you want to have control on the physical world, that the ego thinks that this has some control in it. So some people can just feel inside themselves that there's more, or they live also in another reality, but they just can't experience it because they attach too much to fear and the beliefs that they have and things like that, and they get stuck in the energy fields of also the other people with the same mindset and feelings. And then you have that internal feeling of there's more. You know that there's more, but you just don't experiencing it. But sometimes maybe you're experiencing it, but a lot of people know, they feel there's more. They just know it because it is also a part of them.
I've always wondered, like, if someone were able to travel into a different existence, like a different plane, do we happen to run into different versions of ourselves? I know that's kind of some
Parallel worlds.
like a multiverse type of
Yes.
question.
I really believe that because one of the things what I was telling that I was getting out of my body, and I saw that man with the blue eyes. He was telling me you can shift. Actually, what he was saying was that the outside world doesn't matter and you can shift. So then I'm starting to play with it and I just make a choice. And it's like manifestation, but it's actually different than what you hear a lot because it is more like you just choose a reality and it's not like visualizing and everything and writing things down. It was just more, you know, that you can choose. Then I was doing that and it really works. So I believe that we are shifting to different realities always. And it is just a natural thing for us, but we just convince ourselves that it is one world and that we are always in this one reality. And for me, that is not true.
I wonder how many different realities there could possibly be.
I think a lot, really a lot.
I've heard people say that every decision someone makes in a different reality, you've made the opposite decision, and it just keeps splitting off that way. I think it's string theory or whatever they call it, but
Yes.
I don't.
I believe that in my visions, like the clairvoyance visions, I saw that that every possibility is there, and that actually you are every possibility, and you are also experiencing the other realities, but you are not conscious of it in this reality, but you can shift in it, and it's just all one. It's all one thing.
It almost sounds very simulation-y, to be honest. Like the whole concept of it is like on different levels and thing. I see the concept as almost like in a video game type of a world construction or something because you are on this plane, like level 3, and there's some things in level 4 that,
Yes.
and it's all you in at different stages or whatever. So to me, it's almost got a very simulated sort of feeling to it.
Yes, I once had this experience was very weird that I was on my cell phone and I just I was talking on Telegram and I saw a message and it was saying it was something like reality is a video game, something like that. But it seemed very weird and then it disappeared. But it was not like the normal messages. So I asked her, did you say that? And it was no. She said she didn't say that, but I just saw that. It's like an intervention from something else that something else is also me. But was saying to myself, it is a video game. It's just like a video game. And it feels like that. It feels like you put yourself in this reality. You are here for some reasons that you want to explore some topics maybe. And there are some things you want to do here and experience. And it's, you can see it as a video game. Yes.
I feel like with myself, and I won't speak for anyone else, but me personally, I always wonder why we're here. I think a lot of other people probably have the same thought, same question as
Yes,
to
yes.
what is the point of our existence? Is this what we're supposed to do every day? Get up and do the daily grind, go to work, this and that. We basically are slaves of the machine, as they call it. Basically, we're out here doing the daily grinding of work and then having very little life afterwards. Like, what was the intention of our existence? Because if you look at it elsewhere, like we've evolved, there's no other species that are like us in our reality, in our world, that have the abilities like we do.
Believe that we choose it to do this live for just all kinds of reasons. And for me, it's also like a playful thing. And for me, it is to uh, emerge if it is the right word, emerge, uh, to the astral world, so the spiritual world, so to say, with the physical world, and to share this information into the world. And I believe for everybody, there's a deeper reason that you are here, that you choose to be here. And some people have, yeah, they believe they are trapped in here, and maybe that's their game to experience, and that they create an enemy and that they fight to the enemy or whatever. But I believe everything is one. We are all everything, and everything is one, and we just choose a certain world, a certain way of thinking and perceiving, and then we play the game. It's like a video game. You choose your limitations and restrictions, and also you have a goal, and you go for that goal, and you just actually you enjoy the ride of the game.
I've often wondered too, and this is, you've said ego a few times, and maybe it's an ego thing for humans in general, but I wonder if, and this is going to sound out there, but this whole universe is because what this is my version of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in my reality, you exist, but maybe in someone else's reality, like all these people and all everything that I experience is my own personal reality. Other
Yes.
people have their own different realities, and maybe we don't exist among other people. Like maybe this whole thing, not to sound egocentric, but like this is mine,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
everyone else has different things. So, like, maybe you're not even we're just saying, maybe you're not real. This is just my reality. Like, you know what I'm
No,
saying? Like,
I
I've
understand.
often wondered that.
So it is more like for me, it's like I am you and you are me, and we both meet in this way in
Hmm.
our own reality, and then maybe on a all the time you make another choice and you shift to a reality with a different me or without the time existing, and it is all it is just not solid. And we make our own choices, but we are never like you are in my reality forever. There are different versions. Maybe there's one person and you're experiencing different versions of that person. It was not one person. It is you have shifted into different parallel realities with a person that looks the same and acts the same, but it is not the same person.
It kind
So
of
you are
goes
always, yeah,
what I was thinking, like when people talk about traveling through like time and space, like
yes,
if you're able to travel through different planes of reality, are people able to travel through different times in reality? Like, are
yes,
we like when you travel to some other place, are you still in the same time as like is time not even a thing at that point? It's just an idea. But like basically like what you're in a different reality, a different plane, is it they're still in sync with our time, or do you travel to a different time frame in the different dimensions or realities? Like I don't understand how any of that works.
it's just so fluid. It's pe- a creator can shift into another time, or in a reality without time, or in a reality that time is not going as fast as the other reality. Nothing is solid in that way. So it's just actually what you choose on a deeper level, what you choose.
I know people have always asked these questions, especially towards psychics, and I've said the same thing. Like, if people are able to see into different realities or different versions of themselves, they always want to know why can't they see to where they find out like what winning betting is, like gambling or winning lottery numbers or something like that, and come back and change your reality here. I was like, I know that's like the first thing that everyone thinks about, but
Yeah, I did. But
like
I
everyone
will,
wants to make their current reality, their current life better by going into some different one and stealing the winning numbers and coming back here and winning it all.
yes. And I know it can happen in that way, but that's a lot of time just unconscious um, beliefs that life will be a lot better when you have won the lottery and things like that. But maybe the soul doesn't even want to experience that and wants to have different experiences, and you don't even need the money for what you think you want. So then you actually don't choose to shift into a reality that you win the lottery. But when you get very aligned with the soul, you know from inside what you want, then you can uh, shift into a reality like that and maybe win something.
What if someone were to go into a different reality and somehow were killed in that reality? Would you die in this reality or would you just come back to your body?
So what do you mean? Someone is you are killed in another reality?
Like if you left your body here, like if you were astral
Yes.
projection and you went into a
Uh,
different and you died in that other projection, do you die
ah,
here?
so you can also die here and shift to a reality that you didn't die and then just forget that you died. Things like that can happen. And
I
then
f-
you actually didn't die.
because I feel like in this the relating to dreams, because I know people say what things that you dream about you're actually experiencing in another plane of existence. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't know if that's all true, but if that's the case, like random topic, but the other day I was having a dream and there was I would say maybe a big storm or maybe a tornado. I don't know what it was, but I just know I was in an area. I was trying to get I don't even know what, I actually think it was like an oil changing place, which is strange. I don't have anything to do with anything like that, but I was trying to get my family, a couple of them, to go down underneath where the cars, like we'd pull over and they would change oil, like they have a basement area that they go under. And I was trying to get people to go in there. And
Mm-hmm.
I got sucked up in the air and I got thrown into the wall and my nose started bleeding, which is
Yes.
whatever. But weirdly enough, later that day, I woke up, I went to work, the same nostril started bleeding. I don't know, like stuff like it's very strange. I don't get nosebleeds that often. And this happened before around Christmas time last year, but the dream is really, really different. And it's weird that like I have a dream and then I wake up with either crusty blood on my nose or in this instance, I got a nosebleed like 7 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to explain any of that. It's very strange. And it creeps me out when it happens.
So did you also, what I always do is when I have things that I can't explain, I'm just going to sit down or meditate and then ask myself the question, what does it want to tell me or why do I'm experiencing it? Because we have always the answers inside of us. It doesn't mean that you have immediately the answers, but on a deeper level, you can feel intuitive on what it is that why we are experiencing that. And sometimes there are just reasons and you know what it is, but you need to go into the silence and let your intuition speak.
I don't get a whole lot of silence.
No,
No.
maybe create some silence,
Hmm.
10 minutes.
I say usually the only silence I get is if I'm out here, but I'm usually talking with somebody else. So in my home life, I'm married and got 4 kids, so there's never any
Yes.
there's never any silence in that
Maybe
aspect.
before you are going to sleep, when you're lying in bed, you can try it.
Even then, I feel like there's no silence. I usually have my 3-year-old laying next to me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't like to go to sleep in his own room anymore.
No, so he's always with you.
For the most part, he always wants to sleep between mom and dad.
Ah, okay, feel safe.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
never used to be that way up until about a year ago. So for the
Something
first,
happened, or
I really don't know. Like, one of the dreams that I was having, and I think I've mentioned this before, but when I had the nosebleed, was having a dream that there was entities trying to take him. They looked like little pink humanoid figures, and
mm-hmm.
they don't look like the stereotypical aliens, like people say, like the big eyes. They had more like humanoid looking faces. They were just shorter, but they were like really wrinkly and they had no clothes on. But
Yes.
they were grabbing and he was screaming for daddy. And I was kicking these things. I was punching them, and one of them come up with something in its hand and touched my nostril. And I woke up out of the dream. And he was not next to me. He'd somehow crawled under the covers and was at the foot of the bed. So I pulled him out, grabbed him, somehow fell back to sleep. And then the next morning is when I woke up and I went to the bathroom and I noticed the same nostril that they touched had crusty blood on it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
of course
Those things can be real.
I go overreacting freak out mode because that is way too coincidental. But
Mm-hmm.
other people, when I said it, they were laughing and saying, I must have been picking my nose and I probed myself by stuffing a finger in my nostril. I was like, whatever. You can't
They
talk.
all will always find something to say it was not real. They just have a foundation of everything is real and all of that is not real. And in all kinds of ways, they are being very creative to tell you it was not real.
Yeah. So a lot of the times I don't even say when I have weird dreams or something like that. I don't even bring it up to most people because exactly that you can't talk about it without someone laughing or making
No.
fun. That's literally why I started the show, because I feel like people can't ever get a chance to talk about things they experience without people thinking they're crazy or
Mm-hmm.
laughing at them or whatever. So I wanted to give an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for everyone else to be able to talk about the stuff that they normally can't talk about.
Yeah, that's really nice because this is really opening for people to allow that part of themselves. Because a lot of people experiencing things and they can talk about, uh, like where I'm living in the Netherlands, and for a lot of people, it's just people are laughing and things like that. And what I was doing when people are saying it is not real or you just imagine it, I'm asking them, how do you know?
Hmm.
So what foundation do you have to say that? And I'm starting to question them, and they never even answer. It's just they just laugh or they just say it is not real. But I'm then going to be very direct and just ask, why do you think it is not real? And how do you know that only what you are perceiving is real? But is explaining that you can't see even 1% of reality. So how do you know that it was not real? And I never had one person that can prove me that they were right. It was always just a little bit like childish behaviors, and even sometimes I believe their own fear of that it is maybe real. Because when they think maybe it is real, all those scary things for them become more realistic.
I think a lot of people have experiences and a lot of them just write them off or don't even think about them because
Hmm.
again, I actually think that's part of the programming into the way we are.
Yes,
They don't
yes,
they don't want to accept possibility that the things that they're experiencing are real. So
hmm
if people have a nightmare, if people have a weird dream or whatever, they don't mention it too much. They don't think anything about it. If they have like some sort of weird encounter experience or something in the real world, they just don't even think about it and it gets explained off as something, or they just forget because they're conditioned to believe what their programmed mind believes. Like none of this stuff is real. They got to
Hmm.
explain it away, which is kind of like what you said earlier, how you were trying to rationalize that I really see this dinosaur thing. Like, and other people do the same thing. They see things and they try and look for explanations to write it off because that's just how our minds are programmed to be.
Yes, yes. And but actually, when you just are opening to that those things are real, you get different experiences because you are more open to it, and then you can also perceive more. And also, what I did was sometimes I even saw things that are really like entities. I saw it, and I was with my then I had a girlfriend, and I was with her, and I was saying, no, I was not saying it to her. I saw this big entity, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to scare her. And later on in the night, she woke up and got to the bedroom to drink something, and she was very scared because she saw the same thing. So I was seeing something, and it was very detailed what I was seeing. It was a black entity, like uh, 6'4", so 2 meters high and very wide. And I was seeing it, and she saw the exact same thing on the different floor. So also a lot of things like that happened. I see something, I don't tell it, and later on someone sees exactly the same thing. That was also a sign for me that what I was seeing it is real because I'm not even telling other people about it, and they see the exactly same things.
Hmm. I've yet to hear anyone have similar experiences in the sense of the things that I've had personally, but I've heard other people talk about their stuff, and it does have a little similarities, but like that's never been exactly the same. So I
Hmm.
wonder, I wish I could actually draw very well because I would have sketched out some of the things that I'd seen in my dreams that are just like crazy looking things. I used to
Yes.
always believe because I watched scary movies, I watched horror movies, I watched them. So I always thought a lot of these dreams were was influenced from stuff that I'd seen and I've imagined it or whatever, but I don't have those dreams often that I'm aware of, but the ones that I do are the ones that I remember. It's always the weird dreams that I remember the most. Like I could have any type of dream out there, and if there's something I don't remember it. For some reason, the only thing I ever seem to remember is the very strange dreams.
Yes. And did you can also just set the intention to tell yourself I'm going to remember the dreams. Maybe that will help to remember more.
Sometimes I realize I am dreaming,
Yes,
and
lucid dreaming.
I will tell myself that I'm dreaming, and I tell myself to wake up, and I wake up out of the
Yes.
dream. But again, it's that's very very rare, and a lot of the times, I think I've mentioned this a time or two before as well. But I always dream I'm falling, and then right before I hit the ground or whatever, like I'm floating, I jerk in the bed. It's almost like I was levitating and I flop on the bed. I know it's just my body with a jerk reaction, but I always feel like I was floating above my bed and I fell in bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange. And someone had before had told me, I don't think this was on air, but they said they think stuff like that is us falling back into our body. Like our
Yes, yes, it
like
can be like that.
we've traveled out, like our soul or whatever, our consciousness has left our body. So when we are falling, we're falling back into our body. That's why we jerk. That's like, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yes. And maybe there's a deeper reason for it that you are experiencing it. Like it can be a message. I have also dreams that there was a message in it for me. So, and then later on, maybe 1 week later, I was understanding it. I was understanding why I was dreaming what I was dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like one dream was I was in a field and there was a plane and it was crashing. And I knew that I had to run away, but other people told me, no, stay and we just look. And the plane crashed and it blew up, but that shockwave of the plane was going to us then, and we were there. And then it blew me up something, but I woke up, so I didn't experience that. But for me, the message was that I don't need to listen to other people. I have to be true to my uh, own guidance, and that was run away from the place. So when I just follow my intuition, in that moment, I was still alive. So for me, it was more like in this reality, it's just like don't listen to what other people are saying or what they advise you. You always have to be true to your own intuition because if you don't do it, you get into things you don't like.
Mm.
And that was a message for me. So maybe back to your story, it's something, a message in there for you.
Maybe. Like I said, I very rarely remember anything about my dreams, but I get deja vu very often. At least once a week, if not more, I will have like a weird deja vu feeling, and my hair will stand up on my neck or arms or whatever it is. You get that weird gut feeling, like ugh. But it,
What
it
kind of deja vus do you have? And what
it's random stuff. Like one of the recent ones, I was talking to someone and I remembered I'd already had this conversation. Like after they said something, I knew like they were going to say that because I'd already seen it before. It's
yes,
weird.
yes, yes.
And I remember once a couple months ago that I was driving in this parking lot and my wife had said something and I was like, I knew she was going to say that because I remember as soon as she said, I already remembered that because I remember in my dream I was pulling into the parking spot and she said something. I was like, I've already been here. It's like
You,
it's little random stuff like that, but little things like trigger it to where I remember like I already knew this was happening because I've already seen it before.
and are you also knowing it before it is happening? So this is going to happen now, or this person is going to say this.
I don't know that they're going to say it until like it happens, and then I remember it. I've already seen it before.
Ah,
Like
yes.
like I can't predict like this is about to happen, but when something does, like I instantly remember I've already seen this before. I have that memory of I've already experienced this.
So maybe you experiencing it in another reality, and then you want to experience it again, but in a different way. You shift back
I,
into
I
uh, this reality.
Someone had said before that we didn't make the right choice, so we've are remembering it to do something differently from it. Something happened in that sequence to where we're trying to change it to a different outcome.
Yeah, so you shift back in time to do it over again.
Hmm.
That's an interesting one, yes. I
I don't.
believe that it is happening like that. And that sometimes when I was very little, I was thinking about when I die, maybe I just go to another reality that is similar, but I don't know that I was dying or that I died in that other reality. So for me, in that reality, I just live always, but actually I died in another reality.
Hmm. It's a weird concept to think about that sometimes you've already in a different plane of existence. We're not even alive. We died like long times ago. Like who knows how?
Yeah. Maybe
eh,
10 years ago you died and
Yeah, but we're still
yeah,
alive in this realm.
yes, yes.
It's the whole context of it is very strange to me, but it's also very fascinating.
It is very fascinating. And also, I was experiencing with shifting to different realities, and because I'm always seeing that it is an illusion. And then I was experiencing with shifting realities, and I'm just making a choice. And that what I was choosing is happening. It is just things are happening that normally don't happen. And it's not like I'm choosing it and immediately I shift to that reality. But sometimes one day later, that event happens, or I just choose something and it comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I live now in I was always living in the city. I'm grown up in the city, and houses here are very expensive. So I was like, I want to live in nature and just have a house without actually really neighbors. And one day I get this intuition to uh, stop with living, quit my rent. So I told the landlord that I'm not wanting to rent anymore, but I didn't have a plan what I was going to do. And it was just because my intuition was telling you have to move from here, but I didn't know what to do or whatever. So I said that to the landlord, and I had some time, 1 month, to find something else. And I was working, and I came by a house, and it was a house of wood, made of wood. And I was really thinking, do I want to live in this? And I was thinking like, yes, why not? And it was very weird because it was like I was going to buy a house. I was just so serious about it, but I didn't have the money or whatever. And one day later, I found out that there's a spiritual center far away from my house, but in the Netherlands. Netherlands is not very big. So uh, what I can rent, and the landlord from this house was also very interested in the specific topics that I was talking about deprogramming, mind control, and things like that. And it was so magical because almost nobody's talking about topics like this. And I was just guided to this event and to this person, and I'm now renting this uh, home. Like there's a spiritual center inside where I live. Sometimes it is the place beneath is rented out, but it's just a big home. And now I'm living here, and it is in nature and very quiet and very nice. And I have a lot of land around it, but it's also called Golden Tree, and my soul family is also the color gold. And it was just all those synchronicities are lining up, and it worked out. I just followed my intuition, and it was scary because I had no place to go. And with my intuition and to take action on only my intuition, I came to this place at actually what I want to do and where I wanted to live. And
Kind of
also, yes,
how I do with with why I do this is I don't know how to describe it other than I just felt compelled to do this. And I've let the show just take on a form of its own. Like I don't do a whole lot of research into people or anything like that. I literally just allow people to reach out to me and then we go from there. But I don't know why, but someone says I'm doing this because this is what I was meant to do. And I was like, take I don't take it in that aspect. Like I don't take pride in like I'm out here changing the world or whatever. But for me, I feel like if I'm helping someone else, that's good enough for me.
yes.
And I feel
Mhm.
like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, if you feel that it is your path or that you have to do it and you do it, it is always good. Sometimes you don't even know what is happening, what is the ripple effect of what you're doing. I also had sometimes I did things and later on people said to me, yes, it was so ex inspiring and you inspired me and I didn't even notice it. It was just I did nothing to inspire someone, or sometimes you just do things and you don't know what for positive effects you have.
Hmm.
And
I
I
never,
believe with podcasts like this that maybe people are listening to some people and they hear something and it is really helpful for them.
I never took a whole lot of thought into this. Like literally one day I just said I was going to make a podcast and I literally made the podcast. Like I didn't have any expectations for it. I didn't have any guidelines for it or anything. I just kind of had the idea
Hmm.
and went off with it. I didn't know anything about podcasts. I don't even listen to podcasts. I very rarely listened to podcasts. At the time, I'd start listening to some to get like, I was like, well, I wanted to start one. And then I kind of listened to some. And then 2 years later, I just kicked the can down the road and said, I'm going to do it. And I started doing it. But I didn't, like I said, it's trial and error, but I've been going strong for over 2 years now and it just keeps getting bigger. So I have no
That's very nice.
complaints,
Yes.
but
No,
I have,
we don't have to understand why we do what we do. So our conditions are not like our mind is not developed to know everything, why we do things. Sometimes you just know what to do and what not to do. Sometimes also like don't do this or don't do that, and
mhm.
we just following the inspirations and the energy, and then magic happens a lot of times, and things are going very good. So like your podcast is getting bigger and bigger. It's just out of your own intentions, about out of your own yeah, creation from your soul then.
Somehow it connects with people. And like I said, I've always been somewhat of an antisocial person. So for me, doing this is very not natural, but it became very
Okay.
like the first few episodes, it took a while for me to get comfortable talking to people because it's not something that I would normally go out and do is strike up conversation with random strangers.
Hmm.
But now it's not a big deal for me. Like I've gotten used to it. I'm comfortable with it and I enjoy it.
Yes, so it's also good for your own growth.
Hmm.
And you are inspiring people and you are helping people. So it's only positive change.
So far as I know, I hope I'm making some sort of a positive impact. I don't know of anything negative that's happened, but
No, we just ignore that.
well, we've been going on for about an hour. So is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, so what I'm liking to talk about is that the deprogramming or inner work, when you watch to shifting from reality to reality, you are also shifting through your energy and your state of being. So a lot of people are experiencing the same reality over and over because it's just because their energy is the same. And the real way to get out of that reality, to shift to another world, is to do inner work and let go of the belief systems and just programming and the energy fields then. Because when you don't believe it anymore, you don't believe what you're believing that is getting you stuck, your energy is also changing because you're letting it go and there's more space for your true self, for your own intentions and being to be there. And then the effect is reality is changing. So that's what my number one recommendation is actually the inner work for people. And then reality is just changing and you get more freedom of just choosing and to experience magical things. And like for me, when I was moving to this new home, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I know that my intuition is very important and that my ego doesn't know anything. So for me, it's even more safe to follow my intuition. But I can't follow my intuition in that moment if my beliefs in the control of my ego were bigger. So because I did the inner work and let go of things like that, I can make the choice to follow my intuition. And you come to that path to that one moment you're just only following your intuition. And to do that, you can't use the obstacles of beliefs that are in the way, beliefs of other people actually.
Mm-hmm. If someone were to wanting to try to go into these different realities or whatever, what is something that they could work on? I know like some people say like to astral project, you have to start with like being able to control your dream state.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you would try and recommend to someone how they would want to begin maybe this journey?
What I would recommend is to always follow your intuition, even in choices like this. Maybe you don't feel attracted to astral projection and things like that, and just follow what is feeling good for you. Like if you feel the need to dive into what is inner work and how does it work, and how can I let go of beliefs and how can I find what I'm believing, then you can go dive into that topic, and then you are doing that work, you are doing that. And maybe one time you just feel now I have to do this. Now I'm interested in this topic, and then you dive into that topic because that interest and that inner motivation is out of your intuition. So I think the best way is just to follow that passion, follow and do that, and not even think about why you do that, because a lot of time when we follow intuition, we don't know why, because thinking mind is just conditioned, and it is not knowing what the intuition is doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's- With the thinking mind, you can't understand it. When you can understand your intuition when you are using clairvoyance, but that is not with the mind. It's a different way of perceiving. And then you can understand sometimes if it is if you need to understand it, then you can understand the intuition.
I think with
So,
me personally, and I won't, again, I don't ever speak for anyone else, but for me, I don't know if it's something that I would actually want to try just because I don't, I'm a cautious person. I'm kind of a paranoid person. So
mhm.
I would be afraid of going and seeing things and doing things and then it really warping my sense of reality here, and it might change my entire outlook and perspective, even though what I have now
Yes,
is not the greatest. But like, I don't want to uproot what I have now, if that makes any sort of sense.
yes. But what you can do, for example, with inner work is just ask yourself what where you are scared for, or what makes you paranoid, and just write down what you are believing or what are your fears, and
Mm-hmm.
dive into the cause of that fears and beliefs. And when you are asking yourself the questions where I'm afraid of, and you write the answer down, and you have the answer, then you can dive deeper into that. Ask about the answer you gave. For example, it's just an example. You're afraid of um, other beings, or yeah. For example, is the other beings, and then the question is again, why are you afraid of it? And maybe the answer is that they can attack you or do something, or and then the question is again, why do you believe that? That they are stronger than you. And then you can dive into it and see, for example, I believe it because it's told to me by movies that the astral world beings are stronger and they are scary. And then there's a question, but is that real or not? And then sometimes you can also feel the intuition giving answers like, no, it is not real because I'm also a spiritual being and everything is one. And you can dive deeper and deeper into it and just ask question on question on question and dive deeper and deeper into it, and then you are going to understand your own psychology because you write everything down. When you can go deeper and deeper, you constantly find out that you are just telling yourself stories about uh what is real and what is not real, and you just believe things, and then why do you believe it? And it's all based on just a choice, and never thought about if it is real or not. And yeah, you can get a lot of knowledge about that because you understand your own psychology.
You learn a lot about your own self by going down that pathway.
Yes, yes. And then when you do that, when you start questioning your own beliefs, and just not like 3 questions deep, but sometimes maybe 20 or 50 questions deeper into that one topic, and question the answers and everything, you get so deep and so far, you are going to see on a mental um, existence, you can understand that what you are believing is actually never real. It's just always a choice, and you start to understand that every belief is actually not absolute truth. It's just all choices. And then when you combine it with the parallel realities, you see that you're experiencing those things because you believe it, and it's just reflecting something, but it is not the absolute truth. And when you understand that, you can make different choices
Mm-hmm.
and experience different things. But
Mm-hmm.
people are so invested in that the reality is real because there are so many layers of why it is real, and the fears and other things and what you did experience. And sometimes people have traumas and they are like, yes, but it was so hard. It must be real. It can't be an illusion. That will be too hard. But it is an illusion. And with diving deep in your own psychology, you can find out for yourself what the answers are, and you can make your own experience of it. It's very interesting to do, and I did a lot of it. I've wrote hundreds or maybe thousands of pages full with questions about my own psychology and belief systems and all things like that.
It's definitely something to look into. So for anyone out there that is interested, maybe that is the way to start with it. But
Yes, and it's also you have to develop that method. It's just asking a question, and sometimes you don't have an answer, and then wait, and the answer comes out of you, or maybe later on you have the answer, and then you go deeper and deeper, and it is also an intuitive process. And for a lot of people, it is also very hard to start because subconscious you feel threatened by it because you are going to see all the illusions of the fake control that the subconscious mind wants to have. And then you are going to fool yourself by not doing it.
mm-hmm.
It's an inbuilt, yes, defense mechanism because it can be dangerous for the subconscious mind to dive into it. It is a threat sometimes. So a lot of people don't start this.
Well, Ruben, is there anything else you'd like
Yes.
to discuss? Or
No, I'm good. This was what I want to share.
okay. No, it's been a pleasure talking with you. It's definitely been informational, very informative. I definitely appreciate talking with you, and I hope the audience at least has questions, because if you listen to this and you go on about it, you don't have any questions, then I don't know if it really got the message through or not. But for me, it makes me ask a lot of questions about myself and reality and other things too. So I always enjoy talking to people that make me start to think a little bit more.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it is a nice path to research more and more about yourself and reality, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
thank you for having me. I appreciating that.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure. But for anyone out there listening, I want to say thanks to listen to the podcast. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening with Ruben and I. And if you have any questions, make sure to reach out, and I'll see if I can get in contact with Ruben, and maybe get in contact with him. But on that note, we're going to sign off. So thanks for listening. And that's the show, everyone. I really hope you guys enjoyed the conversations. If you would like to be a guest on Tinfoil Tells, remember to send an email to tinfoiltellspodcast@gmail.com or go to the contact section of tinfoiltells.com. Just get your message to me. We'll get something scheduled for a future episode. And just remember, the truth lies in the stories we share, the connections we make. Stay curious, stay open-minded. Thank you all for joining us on this journey. And until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking, and keep exploring the unknown. Good night, everyone.
Tinfoil Tales in the headphones. Yeah, it's time to rock. Got a story about a cryptid creature. Let's take a walk. Bigfoot, dogman, they're out there in the dark. But the truth is out there like an neon spark. UFO sightings got the whole world shook. Conspiracies unfold like a story in a book. Media control, trying to keep us blind. But I'll be fooled, gonna use my own mind. In history, they don't want us to know the secrets they're hiding, the truth they won't show. Dominate our society, they keep us in chains. But I'm standing tall, it's time to break the reins. Control, trying to keep us blind. But I won't be fooled, gonna use my own mind. In history